Hi, everybody. This is Royce Eddings, and I want to thank you all for joining me on my Royce in the House YouTube channel. You know, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles compilations, the Red and the Blue album. And we're also going to talk about the new remastered, remixed Red and Blue albums that are supposed to be released in September of this year, and all the new technology that has gone into these albums. Okay, first of all, let me just say hello to a few people. We've got Caitlin Stoddard. We've got Chris Elliott. Hey, Kate, Chris, how you guys doing? If anybody wants to join me on the show tonight, because I'm pretty much going to be solo unless something happens, I'll be more than happy to have you just scroll up a little ways and hit the link, or I can go ahead and provide another one. I'll be happy to invite anybody. Music Sanctuary, how you doing, brother? Loki Tio, hey, I just put a link up. If anybody wants to come on and join me and have this discussion about the Red and Blue albums, the compilations that the Beatles released in '73, hit the link. I'll bring you on. Let's have a talk. Okay, so basically, we're talking about a 50th anniversary of the Red and Blue albums, and there's a real buzz about all of this right now because it has been released. Caitlin, how are you, girl? Hold on. Let me get my ears on. How are you?
I'm well. I saw the link. Like, yeah, it's going solo. You might need some backup. I'm coming.
Okay. Do you have any of the Red and Blue albums, or are you fans of them?
I do not, unfortunately, but I've heard wonderful
Okay.
things about
Okay. All right. Well, we've got Safe and Sound, Texas. Safe and Sound. You're more than welcome to jump on here. I've got a link up. I'll put another one up right now. Trying to get a little team together here. It's a lot more fun than being solo, which, that's how I started.
Yeah,
I don't mind. Got Dan Goucher's here, the Music Sanctuary, Chris Elliott, Rick _ Vinyl Guy 62, Safe and Sound, Man of Dr. Rick, Loki. Hey, any of you guys want to hit that link? Just come on and let's talk about the Beatles Red and Blue album. So anyway, why were the Red and Blue albums made when the Beatles had never put a compilation together with all the music they'd put out? Well, in 1972, there was bootlegs. A 4-album Beatles bootleg was being sold on national television called Alpha Omega. Okay, and they did get sued and they did have to take it off the air, but the Beatles learned when they saw what the sales were like and how they were flying off the shelf that there was actually a market for compilation albums. And that's when they produced, in 1973, 1 year later, the Red and Blue albums. What's called the Red and Blue albums because, and I have them both here, because they are, well, red and blue. I've got my Red and Blue albums here. And I tell you what, they took the best 58 songs that they had and put them on these two albums. And the first album reached number 3 on the charts, and the second album reached number 1 for 1 week. Now, both of them, even though they cover different time spans, as you can see, here is the Red album. It covers from 62 to 66, okay? Covers from 62 to 66. And the Blue album covers from 67 to 70, okay? But they were both released at exactly the same time in 1973, a year after the bootlegs were being sold on TV. So here we go. So these things were released, as a reaction to Alpha Omega selling their albums on TV, their bootlegs of them. Of course, what the Beatles had was the original recordings. Okay, their manager at the time had compiled Alan Klein had compiled all of the originals. Okay, so when they made theirs, what they kind of did was they kind of trimmed the fat off some of the songs that could be found on the original LPs and gathered 54 of the band's best songs, 28 on the first album, 26 on the second album, all in one place. Okay, they strung together chronologically, starting with 1963's Love Me Do from the Please Please Me album, and ending with The Long and Winding Road on the second album, the later album from the 1970s. This was before compact discs, but the records were an immediate hit. Like I said, 62 through 66, actually reached number 3 on the charts, 67 through 70, hit number 1 for a week. So anyway, let me say hi to I've got a lot of people coming in. It's a little harder solo to keep up with all my friends that are coming in the show.
That's okay. I'm not sure.
We've been joined by Paulina Angel Plus, Chris Elliott's here, Dan Goucher's here, Man of Many Voices is here. It looks like we're being joined by David. Hey, David, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Hi, Royce. How are you?
I'm fine.
Hi, Kate.
Are you a big Beatles? Are you a big Beatles fan?
Hey, I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Oh, there you go.
Goodness for you. Look at that.
Look at that.
These are the red.
Okay, what were you going to say?
So these are the red, blue, and white vinyls of these. They all came out at once. So I've got these are all sealed.
Well, my red album is red vinyl, red translucent vinyl. Yeah, of course the double album set.
Yeah, I got a blue one.
You got the blue and blue or?
One. Yep, blue and blue.
Oh yeah, no, I need.
And then the white and white. The white album came out in white.
Yeah, the white album. Okay,
it came out in white vinyl as well.
I've seen that. I've got my original pressing of the white album, original American pressing.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm pretty proud of that one. You know, I paid so much for it. I wound up on a preferred list at this record store. I get 50% off now.
Wow.
But it really wasn't that much. It was just a little over $100, but that was enough. Any purchase of 100 puts you on the preferred list. Nice, so now the $20 used albums are $10 for me. You know, if it's a $10 used album, it's $5 for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. I bought
a nice deal.
I bought my Ozzy Osbourne Patient Number 9 there, double album and red vinyl for something like $30. I couldn't even believe it. Brand new. It was still in the shrink wrap. Yes.
Great album.
Yeah, it's a great album. I think it's a masterpiece. I've been listening to a lot of Ozzy lately. You know, I've ordered, or Black Sabbath. I ordered 4 of their albums. Oh, there you go. You got the Japanese version. Yeah. Oh, as well as the other versions.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm a big Beatles fan. A lot of people don't realize that. I don't do a lot on my channel with it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I lived in Gary, Indiana, which where VJ Records started. So I've got a bunch of the early VJ stuff too, because they were selling it in the store for $2. You know, nobody knew who they were. So
okay. Yeah. Well, this is interesting because there's a big buzz right now about a re-release, remastered, re-engineered, versions now that are going to be coming out of the red and blue album. So that's kind of interesting. I even read something about maybe some artificial intelligence mixed in. I'm not really sure how all that's going to work.
Yeah, that's that single that they're coming out with. But.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was the one where I have a little story to tell about that. It was a story I found right before the show. But anyway, the compilations became a huge success, part of the Beatles Capitol catalog, released on CD in '93. They continue to be an excellent starting point for new Beatles fans. You know, a lot of people, I lived the Beatles in real time. I was in 6th grade when the British invasion hit, through junior high. And, you know, it was all Beatles and Stones and Eric Burdon and the Animals and a whole bunch of others, you know, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey and Herman's Hermits. I mean, it was just so, I mean, there's lists of the top 100 bands from the British invasion. You know, that's how many bands came over. It was insane. But, you know, a lot of people, younger people that came along after the baby boomers and stuff that didn't live any of this in real time, it was the red and blue compilation albums that got them to become Beatles fans.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like every generation they come out with something that seems like
something. Right. Now, a lot of people were expecting Rubber Soul to be next, and were surprised when they announced that the red and blue albums were being remixed next. So it's going to be interesting. I've heard people say, "Oh, it's just going to be the Dave Clark 5." Yeah. Now tell me that wasn't a big band, Dave. I mean, they were huge. Big band. They had like the biggest fan club of anybody.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Original epic. Yeah.
My parents often talk about the Dave Clark 5, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah, they reeled out hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about hits back then is most of them lasted less than 3 minutes. You know, they were all really short songs. You know.
Well, you know, it's like when Jimi Hendrix first turned his first album in. They said, "Hey, you're going to have to change this." He goes, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Nobody's going to listen to a song over 3 minutes." that's what I love about the extended live recordings. They get to do their thing, and improvise for as long as they want.
Yeah.
So Manav says, I've got the Red and Blue albums and played them a lot. They really helped me get a feel for how to sing harmony on those songs. Well, I've played mine a few times too, but I still can't sing harmony.
Now, I don't know if you've seen me ever show this box.
Ooh.
This was done through magazines starting in Australia.
Gotcha.
And it's 8 albums, and it has, the thing I really love about this is the songs are in chronological order from the first to the last.
That's amazing.
With the last actually being Abbey Road.
Abbey Road, okay.
Made, the way they were made.
Yeah.
Eight of these albums in there. And they even have some different. They even have some different mixes of. I say mixes. They'll have like an extra cymbal hit at the beginning or an extra verse at the end. I mean, a couple of odd songs, but they're all the regular songs. But and they sound really well. It's probably rated about 9 on 8 or 8.5 or 9 compared to the U.S. pressing, and which weren't that great in a lot of ways. But that, if you could find that, it's about $100, but it's for 8 albums.
Now, what is the name of it again, Dave?
It's called the Beatles Box from
the
Liverpool.
Beatles Box from Liverpool. Okay, thank you. Now, who made that?
This was done through like a magazine thing in various countries.
Okay.
You could only order it through a magazine.
Okay.
They had it, so there were Australia, Germany, Italy, and I think the UK had versions of that. And they were all the same. They were just cut in different countries.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Same content. But
cool. I'd like to come across that. I think I know where it might be.
Yeah, well, you should, because the thing I really like is it's totally chronological. So you really want to, because the U.S. albums are all over the place as far as when they were really, they were just throwing crap together for the first 4 albums.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, Manny made an interesting point here, and I have a confession to make. He says, buying an album and not opening is quite a bit like being newly married and never consummating the marriage. And he's laughing. And, the reason I'm laughing and I find that funny, because I have an 8-album set of Jimi Hendrix released.
Plenty that are open.
Released, well, right. And that 8-album Jimi Hendrix set was released in 2000, and it's still in the shrink wrap, and I haven't opened it yet. And I told everybody I'm waiting till I hit 1,000 subscribers to open.
How close are you?
Well, I'm getting close to 8. I've got a little ways to go. I get bursts of subscribers, then it just levels out for a couple of weeks. And it's like, okay, what happened? Nobody loved me
Everybody
anymore.
hit that like button on here. Come on, let's do that. Let's get them some more views. I'm going to hit the like button.
Okay, how are you? Okay, let's see. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. Can anybody hear her?
Nope.
Okay.
I can. Paulina Hunt.
I can see her. I thought maybe she was going to do sign language for us.
I can't hear you, girl.
I haven't seen her move her lips. Nope, haven't heard you yet. Nope.
Hello, Jeff Davidson. How you doing, brother? You want to come in here and talk some Beatles? I'll put the link up again. Talking about the Red and Blue albums, the buzz about the Red and Blue albums, and how they got started. A reaction to a 4-album bootleg that was being sold on TV in 1972. They find, isn't that crazy? Somebody just grabs them and just throws them on there. And I guess they were selling like hotcakes, which is what the Beatles really noticed, that part of it. The year later, they had the 2 compilations came out in 73. Right.
Yeah.
So that's all kind of interesting. I got a little story to tell here, but I just found it.
Paulina, you're muted.
Yeah, somehow you're muted, Paulina.
It just went off. The mute button's not on now.
Okay, still can't hear her.
But her mic's not working. Yeah, I have the BC13 stereo UK press set. It's wonderful. I don't have the mono set though. I missed the boat on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've got the Beatles mono help and mono revolver.
Yeah, I've
both
got
both
this
Parlophone.
3 LP thing they did called.
Oh, Mono Masters. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a 3 LP thing.
Okay. Yeah, the monos are kind of at a premium. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh.
Everybody wants the monos. It was like everybody got excited when stereo came out because you had something different coming out of every speaker. But now, over time, people are liking the mono. Well, they're of course, they're more rare too. That always helps. But at the same time, people are liking that mono sound. I'm liking it. So, okay, now I found something that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this, and I just found it before the show, and I didn't have time to study it too much. But, it starts out by saying the Beatle fans are on standby for the announcement of an expanded 62 to 66, the Red Album, and 67 through 70, the Blue Album. The speculation for the reissues is that the initial 2 LP CD editions will each be expanded to triple album sets and can contain some unreleased songs like Now and Then. Okay. Now I want to read the part that I just barely, kind of hot off the press. Penn from Penn and Teller has a podcast, and so Penn was saying that Penn confirmed on his new podcast, one of his recent podcasts, that he'd heard the new version of Now and Then. Penn says that he heard the song on a tour of Abbey Road recently with the host, Giles Martin. Giles Martin was hosting him there. Okay. There was a recording, the last recording that Paul McCartney did not make money off of. There was John Lennon playing piano and singing while watching TV. The TV was up really loud, and John was playing the piano and singing. Paul had this. This was like in the 80s when they were doing, anthology, 80s, 90s anthology stuff. And anthology was actually in the 90s, but Paul got every engineer in the world to try to take out the TV. They all tried and they all failed. Okay. And then he asked the people that, made Get Back, re-engineered Get Back. He says, can you take out the TV on this? And they said, yeah, we can take it out. So in the 80s, okay, so let's see. So anyway, they took it out, and it's all being remade, and they can make like 5 tracks, I think, of every instrument or something like that, and adjust them all. And there's just no telling what that all is going to sound like. Okay, so we have, how are we doing now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hallelujah.
Okay, I had to use my phone this time.
So, okay, all righty. No worries. Good to see you.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
I love
again, yeah, I mean, you've been listening. We're talking about the red and blue albums, the Beatles compilations released in 73, and how they're getting ready in September, they're claiming, to re-release them all completely remastered, reworked. I've heard stuff about artificial intelligence maybe being involved. When I first heard about it, I was like, I've got red and blue albums. What do I need these for? I've already got some. And I don't know how you feel, Dave. Are you gonna jump all over those when they come out? You've got them. You will. I know you will.
Probably.
And I probably will too. There's a number of though. There are a number of the remastered ones that have come out that I haven't gotten, and I don't know why. I've been collecting Beatles. I probably have. I think the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix are what I have the most of. I'm a huge Hendrix fan.
Yeah,
I think I probably have.
They get cheap. I think these were on Acoustic Sounds for like $75.
Oh yeah, I got the. I have
right.
I got that one in
the White
Revolver.
Album. Yeah.
I got the Revolver one too.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Trying to wait, until prices come down a bit. Yeah,
I've been eyeballing that Revolver one too. I go on Michael Nolan's show a lot, and oftentimes he co-hosts here. And he's a huge Beatles fan. Yeah. That's his number one, with Led Zeppelin right behind it.
Yeah.
And my being a fan of the Beatles, of course, started like anybody my age, 1964. I'm in the 6th grade, and here comes the Beatles to America and just blew everybody away. Then after that came in that huge flood of all the British bands. It was just crazy. The British invasion. It was like nothing I've ever seen before or since. And and everybody was a Beatles fans. There were no Beatles fans out there. They were all Beatles fans. And then over time, you had the Rolling Stones, which were a little edgier, and there was debates there. And of course, whenever I traveled to California to visit my cousins, I was traveling from Henderson, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas. We were all Beatles fans. I'd get there, and all my cousins were Beach Boy fans, and so we would argue and debate who was the best, the Beatles or the Beach Boys. It usually ended in a draw because nobody was going to concede.
I'm the California girl at heart because I was born there and partially raised there. The Beatles or Beach Boys? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
in
California, it's hard to determine who do you like more. It's
tough. Our tastes all continue to change.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of Eric Burdon lately, and I made the comment the other night that his voice was better than they were a blues based band, but they hitched their wagon to some of the pop acts over here just to expand their audience. Same thing Jimi Hendrix tried to do when he opened for the Monkees in 1967 on 8 shows before he finally got so pissed off because all they would do is yell for "We want Davy" while he's doing his set. And so finally he tried to get them involved with, Foxy Lady. He'd go, "Foxy Lady." And they wanted them to all yell, "Foxy Lady." Instead, they'd all yell, "Foxy Davy." And he got so disgusted after the 8th show, he threw off his guitar, he flipped the audience off, and walked off the damn stage and quit the tour. It was supposed to be like 28 stops. He left on the 8th one. But, the parents were kind of disgusted too because they were all taking their little daughters, young daughters, to see their teen idols, the Monkees, And here Jimi Hendrix comes on and opens for him. And they said it looked at times like he was having sex with his Fender Stratocaster. And the parents were completely appalled by that. So that didn't go over too big. It started out with the best of intentions. It's like, well, the Monkees loved Jimi Hendrix. Dolenz had seen him playing in a little club. He was recommended by I think it was Keith Richards' wife or girlfriend to go see him at this club, and so we went and saw him, and he was like, "Oh my God, this guy's unearthly." Then years later, we saw him at the Monterey Pop Festival, and this is when he'd already gone to England, had 3 hit songs. I think it was "Hey Joe." Purple Haze. I think went number 3. Then I think "Hey Joe" and "Wind Cries Mary" both hit 5 or 6 on the UK charts. So what do you got there, brother?
Oh, so somebody was talking about CD sets. I didn't know if they were talking about these Capitol albums.
Oh, okay.
These are 4 albums.
Wow.
The first 4 albums, and they have mono and stereo both on here.
You're kidding me?
No, so you get both.
Oh, that's
this is
great.
volume 2. These came out in 04 and 06. The first one in 04, second one in 06.
Wow. I did read about those, but I've never seen them before. That's
I'm not a Beatles fan. I got a set that's sealed still. I got a set that's open and a set that's sealed.
Those are amazing. If you loved how they sounded, the Capitol albums back in the 60s, like how they were really mixed, they like that Dave Dexter kind of sound.
Yeah.
Then those CDs have those. Those have those kind of mixes on it. And the second volume, there was an error on that one because I think a couple of the albums that they were missing the mono mixes on some of them, so they did like a fold down stereo on a couple of the albums, and I think someone got upset, and so they had a reissue.
So I wonder which one.
That's an interesting story. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it looks like you've got a pretty extensive collection behind you as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It looks like great.
No, she has some stuff. She's loaded with. Look at all that.
Those are just cassette tapes.
See, that's my goal. To have something like that.
Right.
That's been a goal that I've been working towards since I was 7 years old.
Oh, is it? Yeah. My father used to make deliveries in Las Vegas to all these little breakfast places and clubs. He worked for Steve Wynn, and Steve Wynn at the time didn't have any casinos. He owned the largest liquor distributing company in Las Vegas. And I later got a job for him because I had a fake ID saying I was 21 when I was 18. Anyway, so my dad would make deliveries and things like that, and he'd go into these places where they were taking all the 45s out of the the jukeboxes and stuff like that. And he'd come home with stacks of 45s, and we had all kinds of songs. Of course, he was a big country fan. He loved Hank Williams Sr. and so many of those great older country artists, Willie Nelson and them. And we were sitting there in a little cafe one day. We had one of those little, they had those little tabletop jukeboxes, where you could flip and find songs, but they also had the big one too. And Johnny Cash came on and was singing Ring of Fire. And I figured that was playing like everywhere you went. It was huge. And so I figured my dad would have loved that. I go, "Hey, Dad, you like Johnny Cash?" And I was probably like 11 years old. He goes, "No." I go, "What do you mean? I thought you loved country." He goes, "Well, he's a hophead." I didn't know what hop was later, but I sure found out. And he didn't like me too much either later. But anyway, so Johnny Cash was a hophead. He goes, "Well, I like his music, but I don't like him because he takes, he's on that hop." I thought that was funny. So anyway, so I was reading this thing from, I just wanted to mention, Dave, that I was given a CD, and it was Disraeli Gears, but it was called Rare and Collectibles Edition. And it had every song on Disraeli's Gears, plus a couple of extras in mono and stereo.
Ah.
Yeah, I was working on an apartment building, a housing authority apartment building, rebuilding some stuff. And this old guy came out, with a cane and a straw hat, and we started talking about music. And later on, he walked out and gave that to me. And I said, "I might have some other things for you that you'd like too." And he was a drummer from San Francisco. He played in a lot of bands and stuff. I thought that was so cool.
Neat.
And at that same complex, somebody gave me 160 CDs. He says, "Anybody that wants 160 CDs?" I go, "Yeah, me." He went in and carried out a big box. I didn't realize it was Black Widow in it until I started taking them all out. But it was 160 CDs. I had like 5 Pink Floyds. I mean, there were a couple of Beatles in there. I mean, it was all like, well, there was some library stuff and things like that, and a little bit of music that I don't listen to, but only maybe like 4 or 5 of the CDs were that way. The rest of them were all stuff I loved, I mean, everybody was in there. I mean, The Who, Jimi Hendrix, you name it. I mean, everybody was represented pretty much. Alice Cooper, So I was talking about, the chat's going so much faster than I can. I like to share some of the comments,
Yeah, sure. That's always good.
And yeah, people love it, and I love it, and I will listen to any comments about anything you want to talk about. Let's see. Mobile Fidelity Gold CD of Disraeli's Gears from decades ago had both mono and stereo versions of the album. It sounds really good. It does sound really good. Mine wasn't called Mobile Fidelity, but it was just called Rare and Collectibles, and it was great, Rick. Thank you for that comment. Caitlin, who's Caitlin? So anyway, so Penn from Penn and look at that. Oh geez. He has a vintage Monkeys lunchbox I want to bid on.
He does.
That's funny.
I got a Monkeys box, but I got old bananas in it is the problem.
He actually is like an antique collector. And what he does is that he finds the rarest stuff and he actually puts it in the shop.
Right.
It's like we go in and bid on it. And when I took his pop culture TV class, it's one of my final classes before I graduated 2 years ago. I saw like on the preview he showed us in class, I saw like the Monkeys lunchbox. It was like, it had like the picture of the Headquarters album on it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sitting at my desk going, I want that. And I walked up to my professor, I asked him, how much is that? He goes, come to my shelf sometime and we'll talk about it. We'll put it in.
Right.
So they might have that Hard Day's Night.
Okay, let me comment, finish my little comment here if I can get through it. I probably can't.
Sorry.
But no. Okay. Anyway, so we're talking about Penn of Penn and Teller on his podcast and how he got to tour the studio with Giles Martin, who's been involved in all the remastering of all the Beatles stuff. And so anyway, so Now and Then was abandoned during the construction of the 1995 anthology albums. They just couldn't get some of the bad stuff out of it. It was meant to be included in Anthology 3, but the 3 Beatles, Paul, George, and Ringo, were not confident that what they had to work with at the time could be achieved with the raw demo. So anyway, so that's when they, now nearly 30 years later, new technology, of course, developed by Sir Peter Jackson. Has anybody heard of Sir Peter Jackson?
Name sounds familiar. I don't really recall at the moment.
The director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, as well as The Hobbit, and most recently, The Beatles Get Back.
Okay. Okay, so he developed new technology for Get Back, yes, the Get Back movie, and makes it possible to separate every sound into its own channel. And that was used for the recent Revolver reissue, as well as the Beach Boys' new Pet Sounds reissue. And I haven't heard the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, and I've only heard, I don't have the Revolver reissue. Does anybody here have the Revolver reissue? I'm sure Dave does. Okay. Yeah, I want to get it. Because it's part of some. Yeah. Michael Nolan did a show on it, and he was comparing, it with an earlier reissue. I think it was the 97 reissue or something like that. And, he was kind of going song by song and telling us who he thought had the best version. And I think most of the time the new version was winning, the new remastered. What do you think, Dave, as far as like the new Revolver, remastered Revolver, the new box set, compared to the earlier remastered reissue
2014?
It must have been 2014. Okay.
Yeah, I think it bested a little bit. I think maybe, I don't know if it's the equipment's better or what, but it's not a huge difference, but I was impressed with most of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, the release of the Red and Blue albums creates a diversion in the Beatles reissue road. And this is according to Penn on the Penn's live podcast. What he says is, I would imagine a slight change to take into consideration 62 through 23 might be appropriate. In 2017, the Beatles released the first of the expanded box sets with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Next came the White Album in 2018, Abbey Road in 2019, Let It Be in 2021, delayed to coincide with the release of the Get Back movie because of the 2022 COVID year, and then Revolver in 2022. Okay, so when the release went back to the 66 Revolver, after the 67, 68, 69, and 70 releases, it was expected that the 2023 Beatles release would be with Rubber Soul. And I've actually heard people complaining that it's the compilations and not Rubber Soul, because everybody's looking forward to Rubber Soul. And that's a lot of people's favorite album. And it is a good album. I really loved Sgt. Pepper's when it came out. Me and my friends, 15 years old, we'd hitchhike from Henderson to Las Vegas, go to my older brother's house, who was a craps dealer in Las Vegas, and we'd sit around and listen to Sgt. Pepper's and maybe get a little bit buzzed, and then have to hitchhike back home when we were done to Henderson. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. And the songs on these albums are just amazing. I mean, everybody knows, you've got they did compile their greatest hits at the time, for these albums. I mean, the Red Album starts out, it's the 62 to 66, starts out with Love Me Do, Please Please Me, From Me to You, She Loves You, Yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand, All My Lovin', Can't Buy Me Love, A Hard Day's Night, and I Love Her. What a great song that is. That little intro, the little 4-note intro on And I Love Her. Dun, 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 dun.
And that's the one on this set that I was telling you, the box set, Liverpool box set.
Okay.
That it has an extra riff of that at the end.
Oh, it does.
It has one extra of it, which is unique.
That is unique.
Yep.
That is highly sought after.
Yeah.
Then I Feel Fine, 8 Days a Week, Ticket to Ride, and Yesterday. I mean, those are just blockbusters, and that's just one of the two albums,
Well, Beatles were the master of hits on the A and the B side,
Oh, man.
They used to compete with each other going up the charts.
Right. Okay, so anyway, I read one of the albums here, but when we move along, and I love these pictures because this was what was considered long hair at one time. And then later on, when my father yelled for my mother to get the scissors when he had me down on the ground, this was more like it. Yeah, exactly. Right?
Nice.
Exactly. So anyway, these are great albums. I'll go ahead and read the track list from the first one of these because it's later, 67 through 70. So we start picking up some other stuff. Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with a little help from my friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I had an argument with my wife's sister, who's here from Texas right now. They all came out for my granddaughter Alexis had her baby shower today. She flew out with her husband from Georgia. Well, the baby shower, I'm sorry, was yesterday, but we had a dinner today, and didn't get a lot of time to study for this tonight.
It's okay. Family support.
So after a little help from my friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, A Day in the Life, and I love that song, A Day in the Life. All You Need Is Love, I Am the Walrus, Hello Goodbye, The Fool on the Hill, Magic Mystery Tour, Lady Madonna, Hey Jude, and Revolution. That's on the first album on the Blue Album. First of two albums on the Blue Album. So anyway, those are great albums.
These are highly sought out. The Horzu of this, it's the only ones that have true stereo of Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, and Penny Lane.
Oh my God! Now where did you get that?
Well, one I've had for a long time, like 20 years at least. This one I just got in Spain about a month ago for €24, which is super cheap, which is $25.
Okay.
A good copy of this will go for
okay.
40.
So the euro has dropped below the dollar now?
No, it's just barely above. So
barely above.
24 euros, about 25, 26 bucks. So.
Okay,
that's not bad.
But if you can find this has the true stereo of Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, and Penny Lane, and it's very well recorded. Good pressing, really good pressing.
You
Yeah.
Wow.
It's called Horzu. They have different.
Horzu. I saw that up in the corner.
Horzu. Yeah.
Horzu.
Yeah. And
I don't ever come across stuff like that. Horzu.
Yeah.
The attraction of those was it finally also gives us a true stereo of "Baby You're a Rich Man," which had been missing.
True. That's the
for many years.
After it. Yep.
Thanks for that. God, you're a wealth of knowledge here.
Yeah, these are really good.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
Yeah.
Get some chatter comments up here.
There you go.
Caitlin Stoddard, who's that?
I don't know. She's annoying. Yeah.
Out of control.
It's been so hot. I bring this to keep refilling my water glass. I don't know about you guys. It hasn't. We live in the West Hills and we're only 11 miles from the ocean, so we get a little bit of relief from an afternoon breeze from the coast. But I'm telling you, it's been hot. Did you see that post Dan McNew made the other day, Caitlin, showing that it was 118 degrees?
Oh my gosh! Did I ever?
Was that in Arizona?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. I'm in Texas. It was 109 today.
Where you are right now?
Pardon me?
How hot is it?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say here today was probably the low 90s, maybe.
Oh.
And Tascadero is known.
That's called a cool front where I live. That's
a cool front.
Well, it's 77 today because we have storms rolling through.
Where are you at? What part of the country are you at, Caitlin?
Oh, me. I live in northern Colorado.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody want to answer Manav here? Can someone please explain to me why they prefer mono versions? ? I just don't get it. I guess I'm so used to only stereo.
Hey, Manav, I'm with you. I
agree too.
I prefer stereo over mono. But I think the reason why people like the mono because I think it's more like what the Beatles intended to sound like. Because I think back then mono was king, and
they didn't even stick around for the mixes of the stereo. They just went around for the mono because.
Hi, Gloria.
But it is. And it has different emphasis. I mean, Sgt. Pepper's in mono really sounds different than the stereo.
Mm-hmm.
The emphasis of some instruments, because if you play stereo and you have a mono button, you can hit it, and it folds it together, but it's not the same as the mono version, where they mixed it differently.
Well, the mono, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just saying you have different emphasis, and the vocals have a little more up front usually. because they were trying to push it through a small speaker to transistor
Right.
radio.
Hey, Bruce, I'm going to put up a link. You can jump on here a bit, Bruce.
Bruce is cool. I like him.
Yeah, he's got the R&B show, which actually stands for Ron and Bruce, not Rhythm and Blues. But Bruce is Bruce is a great guy. He comes on frequently, and I just put a link up, Bruce. If you want to hit it and jump aboard, you can tell us about the concert you just got home from.
Ooh,
Wow.
Yeah, I think he said it was like a Beatles tribute band or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few of those.
Yeah, I have too. Well, not quite a few. I've seen two, but
all right, that was a good one. Someone said R&B stands for red and blue. Yeah,
red and blue. There you go. I should have picked up on that.
Very quick.
Yeah, stereo sound. I mean, how could you listen to a whole lot of love in mono, right?
Oh gosh. No. But some of the early stuff, the Beatles stuff being 4-track, it was pretty crude.
Hello, Bruce. Yeah, well, that's right.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Hey, Bruce.
Good to see you. So, do you went to was it a Beatles show you went to?
Oh, it was, there was a local festival, and one of the bands that plays throughout the Chicago area, it's a band called American English. They were at that festival, so.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Great. I see you've got a red and blue album up there behind you off your left shoulder.
Yeah, I figured I'd come prepared.
That's right. Yeah, we've all been showing them off here. R&B stands for red and blue, but tonight only. That's right.
Yeah.
So what is?
I don't know what you guys have covered so far, but I mean, obviously for second generation fans, those albums were seminal.
Huge,
portals into the catalog.
Yeah, that was their portal into the Beatles catalog. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so anyway. What is your take on what's coming out supposedly in September? The new remixed, remastered, improved red and blue albums.
I when Michael shared his video this week, obviously I kind of went on a mini rant about it because there's it's kind of a threefold thing. Now,
okay.
They reissued these albums not that long ago, like probably 2014, right? They and vinyl and in all configurations. Now I do know that this is going to allegedly supposed to be, more with the, the new technology and everything's going to be remade.
Right.
But we're not that far removed from having reissues of this. So in that sense, I'm not that excited. I think a lot of us were probably waiting for the Rubber Soul box set. So there's some disappointment there.
Everybody was expecting that. Yeah.
But the other thing that I'm not liking that I'm hearing is sort of how these things are going to be reconfigured, because
I see.
In many ways, and I told Michael this, I have a theory about this. I don't, and it's just my own thinking on it. But in many ways, I think that this is similar to the Let It Be Naked thing in that it's sort of Paul's way of having the final say in some ways. Because obviously in 73, when these albums were originally issued, he had no involvement with it. He didn't want to know about it. Didn't even want to listen to them initially, just because of all the bad blood with Klein. So I think it's a way to kind of have the final word on this because they are going to have like different track listings, additional songs. Apparently, these are going to be expanded to like 3 LP editions, each one of these. And also, we're going to get like, apparently, this new song Now and Then, which I'm also very mixed on because I wasn't a big fan of the anthology tracks, the Free as a Bird and Real Love.
Right.
But, the thing that's going to be obviously interesting is, again, with this new technology, the being able to separate those tracks. So, in terms of the sonics, they're probably going to be a lot better. But I would have preferred to have just gotten those new remixes in the sequence, with the original context of the albums that we've yet to get as far as the box set. So yeah, very mixed on. I'm not that excited as far as this release.
Okay. Thanks for that. And thank you, Manav, for showing up and hanging with us. Caitlin, bye, Manav. So anyway, that's an interesting take. And you left some comments on that on Michael's show.
Yeah.
And I was reading some of the other comments and people were talking about some artificial intelligence mixed in and how it was creating some you know, some new avenues for remixing it and stuff like that. I didn't really understand what they were saying, and I don't think they even.
Well, the AI, all the AI stuff, I think it's gonna go more towards the Red album, because a lot of the stereo mixes were basically done on twin track, and so I think they're gonna try to use the AI to try to finally separate things better than how stereo was done back then. I don't think that that goes for the Blue album, since everything that was done during from 67 to 70 were all done with multi-tracks and different session tapes, so they could just all go back to those session tapes and just feed them into Pro Tools or something like that and do the mixes from there.
Okay. What is your opinion,
really
Dave?
Be true AI, though, I think for it to be really true AI, they have to kind of create or generate a voice, create it. So I'm not sure really what they're doing is true AI. I think that's kind of like the latest hot thing. So anything. But I don't think the technology they're using is in that. It's more in the Peter Jackson kind of stuff, I think. Is AI. AI would mean that they sampled their voices and created a voice to do that. That's really AI. So I really and being in technology for decades. Bugs me when they misuse
when people are using that.
Yeah. Well, it's just a hot thing to talk about.
It's a hot thing to talk about. I agree.
Yeah.
And people are very confused about it, because they always think, with the AI, is it just going to be the sort of the separation of the tracks, or is it going to be the creation of the voices?
That is AI.
Right.
Well, the actual term is actually called demixing, and I experiment with demix because I use a program and what the program does is like it could recognize what is a guitar, what is a bass, piano, drums, strings, horns, and everything, and as well as vocals. So sure, the vocals are always going to just be one track, whereas everything else could just easily be separated. And then I think with the program that they're using, they're able to even distinguish different guitar sounds coming out of it. So that's what they're using that for.
And that's been around for a while.
That's interesting.
Demixing.
Yeah. Okay, I left this comment up from Dan Goucher because I want the panel to all give their opinion. Okay, if you could have only the Red and Blue album plus one regular Beatles album to keep, which one?
Oof.
The Red and Blue comps plus one regular Beatle album to keep, which one? That's kind of tough, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Anybody want to take a stab at it?
Well, for me, I was just talking to Chris Elliott in the chat. He said White Album. Man, I'm going to stand with him on that.
On which album?
The White Album.
The White Album.
The White Album has always been my personal favorite.
Has it?
Because I think it just showed more how. Oh, look at that! There you go.
Mine's too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it could be the White Album for me too, but it might even be Sgt. Pepper's. I really bonded with that album.
I don't know. It's like I'm okay with Missy Allen. That I love it, but the White Album holds more of a priority on my list.
Okay.
That's just me though.
Yeah. No, I have the White Album and I love it too.
I would go for Abbey Road.
Oh, Abbey Road. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, for me it'd be either Abbey Road or Sgt. Pepper's, one of those two. Because I honestly think, and I don't mean to offend anybody when I say it, for me, the White Album would have been a great one album. That's just, for me, there just seems like stuff on there that I really just can never been able to get into.
Okay, I see somebody here in the
Michael,
chat.
I see
somebody. I think I met him once. As for the
I don't know.
Hey, Michael. I mean, if you're interested,
if you're dressed,
we've been going for if you're dressed,
you're decent.
We've been going for a while now, brother. But always happy to get your take on some of this.
Oh, bye,
and so I just put a link up if you want to join us.
He's out.
Oh, he actually is leaving.
He's heading.
Oh, he's leaving. Okay, I didn't see that.
He said, I gotta go, but
I gotta go, but check out the rest one. Okay, sounds good, Michael. Thanks, brother.
Mike,
you know what?
He's day tripping right now.
He does bring up a good
okay.
point too. We were talking about earlier. I think one of the tells on this whole project is going to be Paul's voice on that Now and Then track, as far as, because what do they do with that? If it's a new vocal from Paul, you know, to keep his current voice, it would be a little strange. So it's like, are they going to be de-aging that? And that's where I think a lot of people it'll get controversial for a lot of folks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, Northern Revolutions. Hey, how you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, Rob, how's it going, buddy?
We're just hashing out the red and blue albums. What's to come? And what's to come? They say in September. Is that what everybody's hearing?
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, what's going on. Yeah. Look at Dr. Rick's comment. He agrees with Michael.
Yeah, it's sampling. Yeah.
I must not have seen that comment. I was too busy checking out my esteemed panel.
You're okay.
And let's see, Michael Nolan, bottom line. I wholeheartedly agree with Bruce here. As far as AI, get a rope. If they de-age Paul's voice, that's a sampling a voice and recreating one, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's fair.
All right. Let everybody take a look at that. Yeah.
Well, look at Northern Revolution. That's a good comment right there.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it is. No, let's see.
No.
I know. I've got to scroll down. I went up too high. Here we go. I know. Okay, I'm all for the new song, but we don't really need another red and blue edition. You know what? That was my initial thought too. We don't really need another one.
Yeah, the one that came out, this one, well, this is the shirt set that I got years ago.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
They did a great job with this. The only thing that I didn't like was the vinyl version of it. And the reason why is that I could tell that they used stampers from years ago, from the 70s. So it wasn't a true remaster on the vinyl. Okay. And you could tell because on the CD version, when it comes to the song A Day in the Life, you basically have a clean intro. It doesn't have the runoff of the Sgt. Pepper reprise.
Okay.
And so but on the vinyl reissues, it has that lead in. It has that runoff. So it was like it wasn't like they even bothered to make like a new stamper. Not like how they did with this one. Now this is the 1993 vinyl issue. And so they did that with this one. So I feel like when it comes to listening to it, I prefer this version.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, were you saying that the CD had the gap in there?
The CD had the clean the clean intro.
Okay.
You mean it doesn't roll? They don't roll together? No. That's probably because of the CD mastering.
Yeah.
I will bet you. Yeah.
But the thing is, like that mix was actually done back in 1988 when George Warren made a new remix of A Day in the Life for the Imagine soundtrack. Mm-hmm. That's where that new clean version came from. Mm.
Yeah, Northern Revolution made a good point about the stuff that's still in the vault. I'm sure there's plenty of it.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Without question.
Caitlin Stoddard, who's that?
I don't know. She's annoying. She's starting to annoy me really bad.
The only one that's annoying tonight is me.
No, never.
Steve Van Zandt is with the Beatles.
Underground Garage Show. Huh.
Probably because that was maybe his first introduction to them, right?
Could have been, yeah. Red and Blue Splatter. There you go. I haven't seen that yet. Yoko wanted the Red and Blue collections released on 2 CD sets rather than just 1 CD each. Yoko, she's always thinking about the dinero. They become redundant. Why not just release the new unreleased material as a package itself? I don't know, Dave. What do you think about that?
They're gonna remix some of this stuff and master it different. They're gonna do something to entice you beyond those songs, the new ones.
Right.
No doubt.
Right. Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
I was telling Michael, I'm kind of, for me, I'm just relieved. You know, it saves me 1 year, you know, the holiday season of not having to buy an exorbitant Beatles box set. Little box set fatigue over here, so it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about this.
Did you get the Revolver box set, Bruce?
I did.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I haven't got it. I haven't got it yet.
You know, it was like initially like $200, and it did start going down. So I think I got it probably closer to like April, May, something like that. So and it still has dropped a little bit, but and it was, you know, they're great sets. I mean, they're all great for what they are, but you know, they are pricey.
Yeah. Right. Right.
They are, without doubt.
They're beautifully done, but yeah.
They're
pricey, but hella worth it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, gorgeous. Oh, that's beautiful vinyl.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so Rick underscore vinyl guy 62 is saying, what is the deal with the Rubber Soul box set? Just delayed or not planned yet? I'm gonna say just delayed.
Yeah.
You know, they, for some reason, they decided everybody was kind of expecting that, and they stuck the red and blue in front of it. And I know it's kind of like the 50-year anniversary, or maybe that was last year, but
of what?
Anyway.
Yeah, it's the 50th of the.
It is 50th,
box.
yeah.
Of the red
This
and blue.
year.
Yeah. Okay, this year.
Rubber Soul will be 60 years in 25.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a trip.
That's monumental.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It really kind of starts to age people a little bit.
Hey.
And then you get to 2024, and it's like, well, then are they going to just start with the 64 stuff to kind of like, you know, because of the timeline?
Right.
Are they going to continue with Rubber Soul? So it's going to be interesting.
You know, they got a million options, right? They've got, you know.
Good point, Bruce.
I mean, it's like, yeah, they can. I think this was double whammy to get the most revenue this year.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah,
they sold, what did they sell, like 30 million of the combined red and blues? 30 million in sales, I think it was, but
yeah, I mean, it was a lot. I've always thought it's the best, probably the only decent thing Alan Klein ever did for the Beatles, you know, because obviously I mean, we can all argue about the track listing, although I think he did a good job. But as far as the packaging was well thought out. It was immaculate. And I think the whole thing added to their legend, not only for obviously second generation fans, but I think for first generation fans who were looking for some kind of new product at the time too. So, you know, it added a lot, I think, long-term to the legacy and kind of kept it going.
Wow.
This was another Alan Klein thing that he did too, which was the Hey Jude album.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Or the Beatles Again, it was also called.
Beatles Again, yeah.
And another great cover, you know, so it's
right.
Classic.
Yeah, I have that vinyl of that. Probably everybody else does here as well. But.
Yeah.
I know Michael's a big fan of that album in particular, that compilation. So
yeah, I think I showed that a couple of weeks ago.
I think you
did. Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what we were doing, but
yeah.
Now, what does everyone think about the possibility? Because we've gotten stereo, you know, box sets, we've gotten the mono box set. Do you think we'll ever get, for fans who kind of grew up with the U.S. versions, do you think we'll get a U.S. box set vinyl of, you know, those albums, the Capitol versions?
Oh,
I would love to see that happen.
That'd be kind of cool.
Definitely will love. I'll buy that.
I think a lot of people
would.
That's
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good topic right there.
Yeah. That is a good topic. Yeah.
As long as they use the original Capitol mixes, not like what they did with the U.S. albums that came out. What was it, 2010 or 2011, when they just rehashed the 2009 remasters? Nah, I like the way that that box set that Safe and Sound showed us. Those mixes are the ones.
Right. Well, you know, folks, I've been trying to limit my shows to an hour, and sometimes they go an hour and a half and 2 hours.
I do the
but
same. I know
it's not easy. We just hit the hour mark, And I think we're going to call it. And I really appreciate not only my co-hosts here. Thank you all so much. We'll have to do this again soon.
Thanks for inviting me, Royce.
But no, you're welcome, brother. I'm glad you came on. And I pop in and out of your show once in a while whenever I get a chance.
Okay.
I've got to check to see if I've hit your notification bell, because I don't know if that's the problem or what. Yeah. But anyway, I want to start seeing a lot more of it. And of course, Bruce has got a great show, and you've got a great show as well. Can you see my cursor? Everybody on this panel here, you need to go check out their channels, and you're probably going to want to subscribe when you get there. I'm subscribed to all of them, and I really appreciate these guys. I mean, you saw how knowledgeable all these people were. I mean, man, really, really thankful that you all showed up tonight to help me out. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. Wonderful, wonderful people in the chat tonight. It was just fantastic.
Thanks, Michael.
And yeah.
Michael joined
great
back
panel
at the bottom there.
That was great seeing everyone here.
He did. Great panel, guys. Y'all done right.
Great to meet you all.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah. So anyway, folks, I think we're going to say good night. Thank you all in the chat. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Really appreciate everybody that helped me on the show tonight. And that's what's going on in Royce's world today. Oh, yeah. I got to do it, too. Let's all hold them up one last time.
Well, I don't have them, but it's okay.
Okay. One last time.
There we go.
Last time. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. All right. And that's what's going on in Royce's world tonight. Good night, everybody.
Royce.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great week.